Meanwhile, News First U reporter Kapila Chandana Kurupwarachi filed this report from Badulla regarding forest fires that are being expressed in the area.
Because of the intense heat that is being experienced in Badulla and surrounding areas at present, fires are being reported from mountainous regions including Haliala. The fires that have been experienced for over a week have caused severe losses in terms of wildlife and reserve land. It is our responsibility to raise public awareness and take steps to prevent the environment destruction that is taking place.
News First U reporter Badulla.
Now, as we mentioned earlier on in the bulletin, we received a report today on a very unusual mass wedding.
Human beings have the unique capability of showing loving kindness to other species, especially our furry canine friends.
Today, law enforcement officers took steps to introduce their canine companions to the human tradition of marriage.
Let's take a look.
A majority of the guests that attended this wedding were attached to the police. The first couple to take to the ceremonial wedding foray were Billy and Bouncer, two dogs attached to the Sri Lanka Police Kennels Unit. However, they were not the only couple to be wedded today. The wedding ceremony was organized by officers of the Sri Lanka Police Kennels Unit. The aim of this program is to promote the breeding of police dogs, thus cutting down on the nearly 800,000 rupees that is spent to import police dogs. The Sri Lanka Police Kennels Unit currently has 236 dogs in active service at 54 centers located around the country protecting law and order.
Starting off international news this evening, a team of United Nations weapons inspectors who left central Damascus today to investigate the alleged chemical weapons strike on the outskirts of the Syrian capital came under sniper fire en route to their destination.
No side has claimed responsibility for the incident and no injuries were reported.
This morning at a news briefing in Seoul, UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon pledged to find the truth in the alleged chemical weapons attack that was carried out last Wednesday.
Only yesterday did the Syrian government grant unimpeded access for the UN weapons inspectors to visit the rebel-held Damascus suburb of Eastern Ghouta. The United States and its allies fear that evidence has probably dissipated due to recent heavy government shelling of the area, both feeling the offer to allow the inspectors access has come too late. Even though both the Syrian government and the rebel forces agreed to a ceasefire in the suspected areas, it was reported that the convoy transporting the inspectors was fired upon by snipers. The UN did not say who fired the shots and no one was reported injured. Russia, Assad's main arms supplier, supported calls for today's UN inspection but said the rebels may be behind the attack and that it would be a tragic mistake to jump to conclusions. Highlighting just how split members of the Security Council are, the French Foreign Affairs Minister Laurent Fabius made the following statement. There are countries on the Council that are blocking military action. China and Russia have blocked and would probably block again, so it would be a problem. In certain circumstances we can bypass it, but international law does exist.
Certaines circonstances, mais il faut faire très attention, bien sûr, parce que la légalité internationale.
Well, Alexander Holmes from the News First International desk joins us now for a comprehensive analysis of this incident.
Yes, well, as we said a little earlier, Ban Ki-moon pledged to get to the truth of last Wednesday's attack. So let's take a look at a news conference he held this morning in Seoul.
The mission is expected to begin conducting on-site fact-finding activities today, 26th of August, in just a matter of hours. And every hour counts. We cannot afford any more delays. All those in Syria have a stake in finding out the truth. The whole world should be concerned about any threat or use of chemical weapons. And that is why the world is watching Syria.
Now tell me, Alex, does the Secretary General's statement have any gravity on the situation? I mean, in that, does it change the tide of the international community's involvement in the Syrian crisis?
Well, in regards to his statement, it's unlikely to bring around any great change to the situation. It was definitely sterner rhetoric than we're used to from Ban Ki-moon in regarding Syria. But what definitely could change the situation is the outcome from the weapons inspection to the alleged chemical abuses. Now, they're not allowed to say who committed the atrocities, but they are allowed to say what, where, and when. So that could definitely point some fingers. With regard to the wider international community getting involved, we just looked last night. Military commanders from both West and Muslim countries came together in Jordan to discuss military options in Syria. Now, there were chiefs of staff from not only Saudi Arabia, but Qatar, Britain, Turkey, Italy, Germany, France, and the USA sent their top military officer, General Martin Dempsey. Now, the Jordanian foreign minister said that these had actually been scheduled for months, and he stressed that this was not a reaction to last Wednesday's attack. They were there to discuss the situation and the scenarios on the ground, and that army chiefs have to have comprehensive talks to examine the impact on the region. So what comes from these talks, we don't know yet, but certainly we'll be seeing.
Thanks a lot, Alex, for that update. Well, moving on to other international news now. The trial of ousted Chinese politician Bo Xilai wrapped up in East China today, with prosecutors demanding a heavy sentence. Bo's trial ended after a final session this morning, the fifth day of a highly observed trial that began last Thursday.
The trial was drawn to a close after final arguments from both sides, with a verdict to be announced later. Bo faces charges of corruption, bribery and abuse of power. He had been seen as a candidate for the highest levels of office when his career was stopped short last year by a murder scandal in which his wife, Gu Kailai, was convicted of poisoning British businessman Neil Haywood. Bo acknowledged that he made mistakes in the handling of the incidents, but he denied criminal misconduct. During his closing statement, Bo accused his wife for many of the corruption charges and even some aspects of the abuse of power allegation. A prosecutor has urged the Chinese court to punish Bo with a severe sentence because of his lack of remorse over the alleged corruption. This is China's most politically charged trial in decades. Under Chinese law, the death penalty is available for cases of bribery involving more than $16,000, and the prosecution told the court that the defendant's crimes were extremely serious. I'm Saskia Wallander for News First.
England missed out on what would have been a dramatic win as the summer's blockbuster cricket series, the Ashes, came to an end, with bad light ensuring the fifth and final encounter ended in a draw.
Australia, who made 492 in their first innings at the Kennington Oval in London, bowled out England for 377 before posting another 111 for 6 declared in their second essay after play was cancelled on day 4 yesterday due to bad weather. The home team set a target of 227 after Michael Clarke's ambitious declaration came within touching distance after an aggressive Kevin Peetson knock, who made 62 off 55 balls. The Englishman needed 21 more to win from 24 balls with 5 wickets in hand, but bad light forced the umpires to halt play, depriving the packed crowd of a thrilling finish. However, England claimed the Ashes series 3-0 with Ian Bell adjudged man of the series for the hosts and Ryan Harris for Australia.
I think, even at the beginning of the series, you speak to a few guys about it and, they give you advice, saying we'll be mentally tough. But until you go through it as a player and as a captain, you don't quite realise how intense it is, to be honest with you. So, look, it has been an intense time, but also a very proud time.
Score more runs, take more wickets for less runs, don't drop a catch. Look, it's at the end of the day, if you look through the series, I think our batting is probably the area that's let us down, and most probably in our first innings. In these conditions, when the wicket deteriorates, the ball spins more. Second innings is always going to be difficult, but I think our first innings batting needs to continue to improve, and I think the boys showed that this Test match. So I'm extremely pleased with the way the guys played in this Test match.
Well, there you go. That's a look at your primetime news bulletin for today. Thanks a lot for joining us. I'm Shane Silva.
And I'm Samadhi Gunasekara. Good night and take care.
News First at 9.
Hotline 0114 896 896. www.newsfirst.lk. Feedback at newsfirst.lk